For a long time, I've been hearing people tell me about the show Naked and Afraid and say, oh, you should be on that show. That's like, yeah, I've got as much control over that as I had over them picking Harrison Ford to play Indiana Jones instead of picking me. But anyway, yeah, you should be on Naked and Afraid. Okay. Well, I had never seen the show because I don't, let's put it this way, I have a TV, but I don't turn it on unless I'm watching a DVD because, you know, I'm on call 24/7 with my business. And I have almost no time at all to watch anything on TV. So I have to be able to press pause and come back later if I watch anything. And there's no way I'm paying for cable, right? So Discovery Channel now has been uploading videos to their webpage and to YouTube. So I found 2 full episodes of Naked and Afraid on the Discovery Channel website. And they've got a bunch of extra stuff. Not actual shows, but, you know, the extra stuff, the behind the scenes or whatever on their YouTube site. And so finally, after somebody had said to me, oh, we want to see you on Naked and Afraid, I finally went onto the website and watched a couple episodes that they have up there that I think are from last year. And, you know, and I watched a bunch of stuff, you know, a bunch of the extra stuff to get a concept of what the show is. I mean, at first when I heard about it, I thought, you know, that is such a bad idea to put survivalists, so-called, out in an alien environment where they know nothing. I thought, you know, like, why would I want to watch that? Because I can't learn anything from it, because they don't know anything about that area. You know, if they're in the jungle or if they're wherever, they've never been there, they know nothing about the plants or whatever. So, I mean, I would rather see survivalists doing kind of what I do on the show, showing people what I know, you know, or what I'm learning, which is really more of what I do, is I kind of videotape myself as I'm learning and studying and educating myself. And then when I think I have something that's good and useful, then I upload it to YouTube so that you can also benefit from what I've been learning and experiencing. And that's my approach. To me, it's a much better approach than putting a couple poor suckers in an environment where they know absolutely nothing. They've never been in this place before in their life, and they're just like, okay, survive. Okay, what do I do, you know? And so, anyway, after I watched what I've been able to watch so far, I actually was very disappointed, not by the show. I mean, I already thought the concept was kind of iffy because it's more educational to watch people who do know what they're doing, right? But then when I watched what I've seen, these people don't... What I think I'm seeing is people who claim to be survivalists and who really believe they are, but who really are not even demonstrating the very basic survival skills that they would need to survive in an alien environment where they don't know anything. They're not even they're not even doing the very basic things. So that tells me that the survivalism community, the survival community, is not being taught properly and is not teaching properly. So I watched this one where this woman is a survival instructor. And once again, she displayed almost no survival skills at all on the whole show. Basically, the man and the woman were pretty much sitting around waiting for the 21 days to be up so they could get out of there. And but this woman's a quote survival instructor. And I'm going, why does she not know some really basic things, or at least she's not applying them? They're stepping over a log filled with ants, and he goes, oh, watch out for those ants.
Watch out for the ants. Oh my God, I hate this swamp.
And I'm thinking, but they're food. you're avoiding food. What's up, They go into the cave and there's bats everywhere, and they're both like, oh man, bats, let's get out of here.
I do not want to eat bats. We don't want to scare those out. Bats. Bastards. We need to get out of here.
He's like, oh man, I would never eat a bat, but I thought they were starving. And in many, many places all through the world, bats are a delicacy. You can go in many countries to a restaurant and order a dish with bats. Okay, I looked at the bats and went, wow, easy food. And they're looking at the bats and going, oh, scary, let's go. Again, we're primates, so if you're in a place where there's a lot of primates and you don't have the skills to build a bow and arrow, which again is one of those basic survival skills for living in an alien environment, at least, right? If they don't know how to build bows and arrows or spears or harpoons for spear fishing, or if they can't build fish traps, if they can't build fish nets, if they basically can't do anything, then at least if there's primates, can you at least watch the primates to see what they're eating? Because we're primates too. And we can almost eat everything a monkey can eat. They've got sharp, jagged teeth. And so there's a lot of animals that can eat things that we can't eat just because of the difference in the teeth. Because we have vegetable eater teeth and they have meat eater teeth or whatever. But we figured that out a long time ago when we figured out fire. Human beings, thousands of years ago realized, okay, these predators are eating meat. Well, we can't tear that up with our teeth, but fire breaks things down. So if you don't burn it up, but you leave it in the fire long enough, your, vegetable teeth can rip it up and you can chew it and swallow it. And wow, in fact, it's pretty good. We figured that out thousands of years ago. So you got to watch what the animals are eating. And when you're in any place where there's vegetation, okay, if there's nothing at all that grows, you might be screwed, okay? But if there's vegetation, go look at that Bible story in Genesis where the Elohim say to Adam and Eve, you can eat any fruit of any tree in the garden except for that one. If you eat that one, you'll die, okay? And that's generally true. Regardless of whatever the meaning was of the story, and everybody's got their opinions and whether it was literal or not literal, this was written several thousand years ago, and it is a general truth that when you're in any environment where there's vegetation, where there's things growing, you can eat almost any of it. Like maybe 1 out of 1,000 things will actually kill you. So it's a matter of, can you chew it up well? Does it taste good? Does it taste okay? Because we've talked about how weird wild foods taste because our palate isn't used to it. Is it palatable? Are animals eating it? Yes, it's true that some animals can eat some foods that we can't, and it won't poison them, but it might poison us, and that's true. So one of your survival skills has to be learning how to test plants, how to test berries and roots and leaves and bark, and test them to find out if it's poison. You don't just eat a whole bunch of it. You've got to learn how to test it. I'm showing you some of that stuff on here. But I have here an idea, because I think the survival community is being severely underserved. They're being taught by people who would fail the basic survival test themselves. Right? And you're seeing it on Naked and Afraid. You're seeing survival instructors going out, being tested. Okay, here's your test. Can you survive? And they're failing. They're thirsty, they're hungry, they can't do the basic things. And so for me to help you, I don't consider myself a survivalist. I don't even look at it that way. I'm a wilderness living enthusiast, and my specialty is Sasquatch survival, which is a specific narrow specialty of survivalism that I think of as just an ideal form of very basic 101 form of wilderness living. I mean, that's how I look at it. I don't even think of myself as a survivalist, although I've always, since I was in junior high, been intrigued with survivalism, and I got tons of books about it. I've got tons of theoretical knowledge and book knowledge, and I think what's happening is a lot of people who think they're survivalists, that's all they have is theoretical knowledge and book knowledge. A good example of that is the bow drill. Everybody thinks they know how to make a bow drill and use it, but every time somebody teaches the use of a bow drill, they're using one that's already broken in, and they're cheating. They're using like a shoelace or something. But if you're on Naked and Afraid, you won't have a shoelace, so it's cheating. So the test would be, can you, if you want to apply for the show and you think you can do it, test yourself first. Can you go out into a wilderness that you're familiar with, the wilderness in your backyard, for 30 days, completely naked with no survival tools at all, nothing, no knife, nothing to light a fire, nothing. Can you go out into your own wilderness in your own backyard for 30 days, completely stark naked with nothing? Get lots of water, be fully hydrated, eat lots of food, come back fully clothed 30 days later. I mean, if it's in your own backyard and you know where your car is and you got food and water in your car, and you can cry mama at any time you want. But if you can't do that, then you know that you failed the test. So anybody who's interested in that sort of thing, and if you really want to know the things that you really need to know, if you want to pass that test, I'm going to help you out. Okay, even though I'm no survival instructor, what I have on Facebook, I've got several pages that I administrate on Facebook, and one is called Primitive Living Skills. On Primitive Living Skills, I post all kinds of articles and videos that are usually they're supplementary to what I do on these videos, usually. So I'll post links to these videos on wilderness living skills, and then primitive living skills is where I post links that are supplementary, like, more research into this plant or whatever. So now I'm going to be posting all kinds of things on the very basics that you would have to know to pass the test. If you wanted to be on Naked and Afraid or something like that, and you think you're a survivalist and you think you do just fine, okay, I'm gonna cover a bunch of the essentials that you have to know, based on me watching that show and watching what so-called survival experts don't know, the very basics that they would have to know that they're just not getting. Like I said about the bow drill, people go onto this show and they think they know all about the bow drill and they can't do it. Well, that's because bow drills suck. That's why I carry a lighter with me, a butane lighter, because I know that starting fires, getting totally raw materials that have never been broken in, and there's no fire to harden, the tip of the drill with, and you don't have a good cord and all that stuff. Like, that sucks. It's so hard to do, okay? So that's one of the things, okay? You gotta know how to do that anyway, but I'll tell you a story about that. When I was 3 or 4 years old, my family lived in Brazil, and my parents were working with an indigenous Brazilian tribe in the Amazon region. They're called the Urubu. All right, so we would have to hike into the jungle to visit the tribe. Like, I was 5 when we came back, so I was a little kid, but I remember a lot of cool stuff, okay? So we would have to hike into the jungles to visit them. So one time they hiked into our little town, Nova Olinda. We're living in a house with mud walls, this sort of town, And so they came to our house, and the chief of the Urubu was going to demonstrate how they light a fire with sticks, with two sticks, not a bow drill, but you had one on the base, and then you had one standing up, and they would go like this and rub it until they got a spark, and they would ignite their fire with it, right? He went on and on and on, and he could not get it started. This is the chief of an indigenous tribe. This is how they start fires, and he can't get it, and he's going on and on, and he's getting frustrated, he's getting embarrassed. Then his 7-year-old son comes along. This is sort of like trying to open the lid on a jar, right? His 7-year-old son comes along, and whoop, there it is, there's the spark, But that's, you're talking about people who do this all the time have a hard time getting it, So if you can't start a fire with completely natural materials without cheating and using a bootlace or something, you're not going to pass the test. Because if you choose a knife and your partner chooses, I don't know, paracord or something, right? You're going to have to light a fire. You're going to fail if you can't do it. But anyway, that's just a symptom of the problem. There's a lot more basic problems than that, and I'm going to post them on Primitive Living Skills on Facebook. So if you will, please go to Facebook, go to Primitive Living Skills, and look at all the stuff I post on there. You will get a lot of information that will be very useful to help you pass the ultimate survival test.